I think we are live. Hello, everyone. It's been a long time since doing my last stream. I think it was well over a year ago. But I thought it was a good time to jump on, given that most of my LinkedIn posts these days are pictures and words. So if you're coming into the stream, tell me where you're coming in from, which country. Tell us a bit about yourself, introduce yourself. I always say with these streams, you never know who you might meet. You never know if you put up a question, somebody may reply privately. So give it a go, introduce yourself, tell us where you're coming in from, but good to see all of you. Now, I am in the UAE. The UAE, it's a bit of a topic of discussion for a lot of people. Just want to check that I am live on LinkedIn. Give me a second. Is Obadiah live on LinkedIn? Yes, he is. Right. So I'm in the UAE. There's a lot of talk about it at the moment. I think there's a lot of external PR companies that have an opinion. I'm sitting at home, right? I'm not in the office. That tells you something. We were meant to have a ceasefire. And again, by my words, we were meant to have a ceasefire. But I don't think that's been agreed. We still had a few missile alerts and a few other things shortly after the ceasefire was announced. But for us living here, the UAE is making life as normal as possible. And I think we all need to understand that on the ground here, yes, it's business as normal, but from an international perspective, I think a lot of people are concerned, right? Should I make the effort to go there? Should I travel there? Am I at risk? Should I move my business? Should we spend more money there? I think all of these concerns are going to be on people's minds. But as I said, life's okay here. I think business is struggling a little bit from an international perspective, but life's good. And knowing this country, we'll bounce back. It will be okay. But for any of you coming in, message me on the chat. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're looking for. Fire questions away. Anything you want to know about the UAE, now's your chance. Now, talking a little bit about the external PR, I just want to show, let me see if I can show you an example of what we're going through at the moment. I'll have to share screen. Let's see if it'll work. Probably won't now. Anyway, while it's working, I think bouncing back, the UAE is in a war. Do I think it's going to stop anytime soon? No. Wars linger. Is it going to probably last 6 months? Nobody knows. Is it going to last a year? Likely. But is the UAE going to be carved out of this? Very likely, right? And I think this country has the ability to bounce back like no other country. And if you don't think the UAE is going to offer incentives, then, knowing this country, they will. They're offering incentives to get the whole world looking at them once again, because they are an incredible country. Now, moving on. My industry is the family office industry. I run events. We're not exactly going to be doing an event anytime soon. Right, and I just want to share a bit of screen with you. Going back to what I was talking about is, so look at this here. Look, 2 weeks ago, Trump holds peace talks with Iran as bankers flee Dubai. Yesterday, Bloomberg say bankers start weighing in. UAE returns hour after US-Iran ceasefire. So all I'm saying is you're going to get loads of mixed messages, loads of PR, but all I'm telling you is I'm here streaming from the UAE. Everything's good. Yes, there are still interceptions happening, but life and business is okay. And it will pass, but we're in the middle of it. It's like my next door neighbor fighting with my other next door neighbor. They're fighting. Let's say they're throwing water balloons at each other and they're hitting each other in the air and we're getting covered in water, right? It's probably the most kid way of talking about it. We're in the middle of an argument, right? And the UAE is suffering because of that argument. So I'm just showing you some of the PR that is Yeah, creating loads of mixed messaging, which I don't think is number one fair. Let's try and just close. Now, looking at some of your questions, I came to Abu Dhabi. So let's look at Aaron. I came to Abu Dhabi a month ago, visited my dad, got stuck there for an extra week. Even with current affairs, I'm going back in a few months with my visa sorted. I'd rather be there than the UK. Yeah, I think a lot of people has opinions about other countries. I think we're seeing some, I would say them not very clever comments like there's more stabbings in the UK than there are, people dying from missile debris, right? I don't think I'm in the business of comparing other countries. All I'm trying to tell you is life here is good. But business is suffering, and obviously tourism is suffering, but it will bounce back. This is a period. The UAE has been involved in a conflict. It's been involved in a conflict. Now, I want to move on to business because I don't want to sit here and talk about politics or PR. I want to move on to business. So the big question a lot of journalists have been asking is, are family offices leaving? No, they're not. Because a family office structure is very complex. It's expensive, and you set up a family office structure for business purpose. Now, yes, the manager, the UBO, the family principal has potentially come to the UAE for lifestyle. But setting up the family office is a business decision. Now, making the business decision to leave is not something anybody's going to do because of a war and a conflict. If you think of it this way, the world's always in some type of war or some type of geopolitical tension. Now, if every family office moved their structure because of some conflict between one country or another, then you'd never sit and actually focus and make money. So family offices are not leaving. Yes, we sent out a message. We have about just under 1,000 families on our platform now. We had 4 people come back and say, do you know any corporate service providers or bankers in Singapore? So some people are thinking naturally, but they're not moving. They're just thinking, right? They're thinking about an option, a diversification. If I've just moved all my liquidity from the UK because I don't want to pay a huge tax bill, maybe I don't want it all in one place in the UAE. I should start looking at Singapore. I think that's sensible, right? I don't think that's not sensible. Any of you disagree? So family offices are not leaving the country. Guys, for any of you coming in, tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're doing. Share a bit more about you. Share your stories. And as I said, I think before, when I did this over a year ago, we had so much connectivity with people, which was brilliant. So feel free to promote your business. Now's your chance. Now, are family offices deploying? Let me show you something. So I sent out a questionnaire. Let me share a window again. So I sent out a questionnaire. I don't know if you can see my screen. Look at the dates, right? I sent out a questionnaire, which was about a week ago. Is that right? Yeah, a week ago. And look on the same day. I'm not going to go through it all because I don't want to share too much because this is meant to be private information. But look on that day. I sent it out at 10 a.m. or 10:30. An hour later, look at the flooding in of data that came in. And these are all from local families, or at least any family. So in our platform, we have any family that is structured in DIFC or ADGM, international, local, doesn't matter, right? We consider them all as local as to the UAE. You can see single family office, 5 million ticket, 20 million ticket, private equity, private credit, real estate secondaries, North America, Europe, right? You're going to see North America a lot on the right side. Private equity is quite popular, but also public equities. There's a lot of volatility in the market, chance to make some cash. Real estate's coming up. Ticket sizes, some are a little bit hesitant. I know some of these families normally do bigger, but they're kind of, keeping some liquidity behind. So all I'm trying to tell you is for anybody saying, are family offices deploying, sitting there doing nothing? Absolutely not. Why would these families answer our questionnaire straight away if they were doing nothing? They're giving us this because we're trying to put people together, families with other families. Because we're in the middle of a conflict, we're trying to create more community. That's what a community is about. So I'm just trying to show you that things are happening. So any of you, public equities, private equity, credit, I think more people were in private credit, but less now. Fixed income bonds, venture capital is quite quiet, I would say. But you see it, look, 3 times here. Tell me what you think, right? I don't think I'm crazy, but I don't think things are stopping. Obadiah Ayton, are you sharing anything? From Mansour. Well, I'm trying to give you insights of the data that we've received from loads of different families. Now, I'm not going to share that data with you, no, because it's meant, as I told you, it's meant to be private. That's why I didn't release names or anything. I was showing you the date because it's recent, right? It was during the conflict and the war. My screen share is not working. Brilliant. Didn't even know that. Okay. On my screen it was. Maybe not. Okay. I tell you what, for some of you, message me afterwards and I'll share a screenshot with the data that I was talking about. All right. Don't worry, this is the benefit about live streams. Not everything's perfect. Only shows that you're human, right? So message me after. I'll share with some of the live data of what families are investing in. Remind me, private message me, okay? Now, going back to kind of I've gone through, are family offices leaving the UAE? No, they're not. Some are asking questions about other jurisdictions, Hong Kong, Singapore, yes. Are family offices deploying? Unfortunately, you didn't see my share screen, but I had data that I started receiving last week from a questionnaire with many. We sent out to 200 families. We had to date 77 responses, which is pretty good. That gives you kind of a 30-something%, let's say, reply rate of people that are willing to give that data because they're actively looking, right? So yeah, sorry, I didn't realize that it wasn't sharing. Now, so we have people coming from Portugal, Bulgaria. I agree, many of us who've been around for a long time and not leaving. This is the UAE, incredible country. It's my 20th year in the UAE, 30 years. Wait, that's far longer than I've been here. I've been here about 10 years now. So yes, I'm sure a lot of you have seen a lot of things. I'm still an expat. I think interceptions above your house is always a bit nerve-wracking, but it's so weird. You feel comfortable, like you actually feel safe. You see a poster of Mohammed bin Zayed on the road saying, don't worry, it will be okay. We'll take care of you. And to think we've just finished our Eid holiday. We had fighter pilots giving up their most precious holiday of the year to protect us expats, right? It's something that I'll tell my daughter when she grows up. This country was protecting her when she was very young, right? So this is the benefit of moving to a country like this. They didn't have to, but they did, because they care about us staying here and they care about us calling it home. Now, moving on to business. Hi, everyone coming in Dubai, we're safe. See, if you read the chat, you're going to see loads of people here saying everything's okay. Now, as I told you before, I think business is struggling a little bit, obviously. Real estate will correct. I think you're going to see distressed deals. I think you haven't seen the worst of it. I think you're going to see the worst summer when it comes to real estate liquidity. I believe international business, a lot of foreign companies got travel bans to this part of the world, which again is natural. But as I told many of you early in the stream, it will bounce back. This country will offer incentives. It will make it very clear that it protected civilization from a war. A war. I think we're over 2,000 missiles have been fired our way. They've shot down them all. And okay, it's very sad. Some people have died from this, from the debris. Very sad, right? But if you compare this to other countries, name many other countries that have protected a civilization from a war. It's impressive, right? So imagine the story after the summer that the UAE was able to protect its civilians from a war. Do you think that's not going to make the country stronger, the economy stronger, it's safer, knowing that this world is a funny place at the moment? It's a fragile place. There's wars happening everywhere, but the UAE can protect itself. But it's weird for me. I'm an expat, born in the UK. We're not used to this type of thing. Was looking at relocating to the UAE from London. So this is actually a really good message from, let's pull it up on the stream. Let me know if this is showing, this comment on the stream. So was looking at relocating to the UAE from London pre-war. So this hits close to home. For family offices or companies with cross-border exposed geopolitical shifts like this feed into FX and rate hedging. Happy to chat independently of banks, right? I think a lot of people were looking to relocate to the UAE. I've had 7 people been made redundant because they were in the process of setting up a family office structure, and the UBO withdrew and said, let's revisit this in a year's time. Which again, guys, this is natural, because setting up a family office requires a lot of manual paperwork filling. To go and visit your local banker, you need to be there physically a lot of the time in this country. So a lot of this involved travel. So just to justify the PR, the negative PR, family offices are not leaving this country, right? But yes, some people have withdrawn their applications for the time being. And to set up a family office is a business decision. You're in the center of the world here. Banking regulation is still good outside of what's going on, right? Mansoor, if you're exploring collaborations, so let's hide. Let's put some other people's. Everyone's starting to promote. Please, guys, do tell us what you're doing. Tell us where you're coming from. Say more about your business. Luis, let's talk about. I'll go back onto business in a minute, but let's get some Q&A going, right? I think this is important for a lot of you that want to hear what's going on. The war will end. I don't think it will for a while. Wars don't end. They linger. I also don't think America can afford the war to end. They're in. And there's a bigger game going on that none of us will understand, especially none of us here on LinkedIn. We just have to focus on our lives, our businesses, our jobs, and let it play out. I don't think the war will end anytime soon. 18 months to 36 months, minimum. But will the UAE be carved out of the war? Very likely. When that will happen, I would believe there's discussions going on about that right now, because the UAE has not worked this hard to build an amazing country, an amazing economy, to have this delay its long-term plans. So I know a lot of you, this is not meant to be a political debate. So for all of you guys coming in, promote your businesses. This is a business conversation. This is about business in the UAE. It's a bit of insights about what's going on. Now, moving on, access to families. Now, this is quite an important point for a lot of you. I'm sure a lot of you in the groups are founders, startup founders, GPs, service providers. If you're targeting private wealth and family offices, this is my, let's call it, life. This is all I do. Now, when it comes to this country, access. Normally, a lot of you fly in, you do your road shows, you do your rounds, you shake hands with a lot of the people that you know, you knock on a few other family wealth doors, and you say hello. Now, we are in the conflict, so a lot of that is not easy, because if you fly here, there's a chance your flight may get delayed or paused, and it's not comfortable, right? I'm not telling any of you to come here right now. It's okay, but that's your decision. Now, accessing families, there is no better time to reach out to that person you wanted to meet. Remember the days of COVID, right? Remember COVID. We were all sitting at home thinking, what the hell is going on with this world? What's going to happen? But people were more accessible. I'm working from home. My calendar is less busy. Why? Because I'm not... Actually, I had a meeting in DIFC today with a very good Pakistani friend who works for a family office. We'll get onto that in a minute. But I'm naturally less busy because there's no events going on. There's nobody pulling me into DIFC for meetings. I'm more accessible. I'm more online. So fire those direct messages to families or people who work at family offices on LinkedIn. Do it today. You've got no better chance than right now to reach out and open the door with some of these people. Because in a normal day, they're so busy. We've had events after events. The UAE is running, was running at 1,000 miles an hour. Events every day. People flying in from all different parts of the world, trying to sit with money. We want your money. We want to sell you a service. That's why you fly into the country, right? So all I'm saying is, think of the whole country right now is online. So reach out to those people that may have ignored you 7 times. I could show you, right? I have quite a big following on LinkedIn. But I could show you some messages where I've probably messaged somebody 8 or 9 times. Now, I don't do it one after the other, and these messages are very polite, but I don't give up, right? I don't give up. I keep going. I want to meet these people. So for all of you joining now, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Tell us where you're coming in from. Tell us more of your thoughts. Put it in the chat. I'm going to read off some of your questions. Share your service, share your expertise. What I was touching on, if any of you are joining now, was accessing family offices whilst you're sitting at home. There is no better time than now. Most people are working from home. A lot of families are watching. That's not a bad thing. Okay, if you desperately need cash now, I mean, most investors take a while to give you money. So if you desperately need cash by tomorrow, I don't think anyone can help you. But my point is, get your foot in the door now. Reach out to those people you've wanted to reach out to who've been ignoring you, not on purpose, just because they're so busy. Do it today, do it now. I tell you, there's no better time. I was trying to share screen earlier, I'm not sure why, but I sent out a questionnaire a week ago. I sent it out to 200 single family offices, a few single family holdings. I got 77 responses within 48 hours, telling me what they're investing in, their ticket size, their challenges, their jurisdictions, everything. Why would they give me that information if they weren't active? But I tell you what, there were, I think, 25 families who I barely even get a response from. Some of them have, I think there were 5 families that had never even been to any of my events, but they responded to that questionnaire. So all I'm saying is sometimes people, it's not people don't like you, don't like your product, don't think you're good enough. It's just they're busy. They have a job, right? Lewis, Obadiah, I sent you a message a few months ago. I'm sure you did. LinkedIn is the most dysfunctional platform when it becomes big. I wish I could give you all the followers I have because it gets very dysfunctional when we have too many people. I'm just going back looking at some of the questions in the chat. However, this no. Okay. All right. Well, keep chatting in the chat, guys. Promote your business. Help one another. If somebody's proposing a question, but while you've got me, ask me any questions about what's going on here. I'm going to work. I drove to DIFC today. I'm playing golf at the weekend. I'm hosting people around tomorrow night. Life's normal. Business from an international perspective has slowed down, yes, but local businesses is great. It's like, as I said, it's like COVID. We use the local service providers. So if you're a local service provider in the UAE, now's your chance. No? All these shiny American companies that are halfway across the world. Now's your chance to go in there and say, we're here, we're offering a cheaper price, use us, right? Use us. We're here, we're reliable, we're sitting in front of you today during the conflict, name a price. Have fun with it, right? Now, I think one of the questions to move on to was, I saw a post recently from CNBC about the overuse of the word family office. So for some of you that follow me, for years, I think 7 years now, I've focused on the word family office. The problem we have in the modern world is the word family office has too many different meanings, and it is incredibly overused. For benefit, just because I think some people misunderstand it, and I also think in different countries, different cultures, it has different meanings. So if we look at the US, a family office is typically a very expensive business to start. You need to employ very expensive bankers, maybe even an internal legal officer or accountant, right? You then need to extract an enormous amount of liquidity. I think under CNBC or UBS, they want, it used to be 100 million liquidity, but now I think it's 250 million US dollars of liquidity or accessible liquidity. The problem is with the US definition of a family office, it is different to the Middle East. And let me explain why. We do not pay tax. So a family office can sit within the family group because we don't need to park it offshore to avoid paying the tax man. But in America and Europe, you need to create a very expensive, sophisticated structure to protect it and also to benefit from a tax purpose and many other things I won't get into, right? You can leave that to the professionals. But the misinformation about a family office in this country, we have many different types, but at the same time, too many people, I'm one person and I have a family office. Now that's very unlikely. The word family office means that you have a team and you have an office, right? It's expensive. Just say you're a high net worth and you have liquidity to spend. Why say you're a family office, right? So just beware that I think there's a lot of startups and this country, there are some people in it that will say we're a family office, they'll charge you and God knows what else. There's been some bad stories. So all I'm trying to say is the definition between a US family office and a UAE family office can be different. So take it with a pinch of salt. All right. Some more new people coming into the chat. We have Anne. Thank you for organizing Obi. I am UAE based and I support founders, family offices, CEOs, mandates, particularly during periods of transition and strategic repositioning. Anne is an incredible lady. Anne is like, there's a famous quote, I'm not saying she's like her, but there's a famous quote from Margaret Thatcher. And she says, being powerful is like being a lady. If you have to tell people who you are, you aren't. Anne is that person. She doesn't need to tell anybody who she is. You just know who she is, and she's incredible, she's powerful, and she's great at what she does. And she has worked with some of the biggest families you can imagine in this country. But she doesn't tell anyone. She keeps it quiet. Hush, hush. Until now. So yes, thanks for coming in, Anne. Let's look at a question from Lucas. How do you, clients, families currently look at investment opportunities in Europe related to energy transition? I mean, energy is a big topic at the moment for what's going on with the war. I think it's annoying I can't share screen, but I've pulled loads of data from the Family Office Network here and our platform, but European private equity was a big topic. Now, I think most families will tell you straight away, we're looking for 10 to 20 million euro EBITDA. We're looking for a profitable business, and we're looking to buy senior minority or majority. I think any family office would tell you that that's what they want, which means they want the best of the best. And then, God forbid, they'll say we want it in industrials, which is what everybody wants. Now, working down from that, energy is a hot topic at the moment. Energy transition. It depends what industry you're talking about, Lucas. Tell us more about it. All right. I think let's move on to when is it likely that a lot of you from outside the country are going to come back here? Honestly, September, October. I think it's good to come here and start opening doors, but I'm not going to tell anyone to do that while there's still a war next door. But for the ones who like to take risks, I think it's a great time while it's quiet to build relationships. But I think the majority and the wave will come back September, October. Schools will go back. It's cooler and it's post-summer. So mentally, us humans are kind of like thinking about it's after summer. Let's get things going. Most people have gone away in August. But as I told you, a lot of you before, the war's going to linger, guys. This isn't going to stop. But the UAE will be carved out of the war. And they will offer any incentive. As I tell you now, you wait. And when they prove that they can protect everyone from a war, I don't care what you say. We've been protected from a war. You know? Forget crime, people stealing stuff. We got protected by 2,000 missiles. I'm laughing about it now because it's true. It's unbelievable. Going to Abdul put in a good message. What's family office's appetite for structured products? Oh, God. I wish I could share screen. Guys, for all of you coming in, remind me, direct message me. I'll do a screenshot of the data that I've captured. It's not going to show any personal information. It's not going to show anybody, but it's just going to show you a little bit of what this data I got last week, what families are doing, what they're interested in. So structured products. From what I understand, private credit, everyone's looking at the US right now. There's a lot of negative stories around private credit. I think public equities, commodities, hedge funds, there's still money to be made in volatility. Private equity is going to be of interest because there's going to be distressed assets. Real estate, I think Middle East real estate. You'll see a lot of families here, if they say that they are just focused on Middle East real estate, it means that they're watching. So if you speak to a family here and they just say, hey, we're kind of focusing on Middle East real estate, it normally means that they're just kind of saying, we're just watching everything. We might have a dabble in some local real estate when it becomes a bit quieter and a bit local priced. But structured products, I mean, hey, if there's one thing this conflict did is it made DIFC and ADGM lighter of bankers. If you Google now, bankers leaving Dubai, and then bankers returning to Dubai, you'll see the banker do a PR about people leaving, bankers leaving Dubai. And then Bloomberg yesterday said bankers are now returning. So the narrative doesn't make any sense, right? But structured products, I think it's great for bankers now to build genuine relationships and really the ones who will sit and care. I'm not saying a lot of people don't, but there was a lot of people that were following money and clients this way. So let's say if I had a few clients in London, they moved their liquidity here, I followed them to keep the relationship. Fair enough. But while you're here, you want to kind of build that network. Now, I think a lot of people came here, a bit of a gold rush, and wanted to just chuck as much structured products out there as possible and see what stuck. I tell you now that most families here are different to one another for a reason. And when it comes to structured products, they all need to be different to suit the family. A lot of families like the local stock market. Why? Because it pays a dividend. Local families here like cash generating businesses because that's what they own. They have a portfolio of cash generating businesses. They're not used to sitting on AI cap tables. We saw one of the Abu Dhabi entities, one of the sovereigns invest in a fund that has OpenAI and Anthropic, right? That's different, that's a sovereign. But the families here, they're not used to just sitting on a cap table in Europe and waiting for a liquidity event in 5 to 7 years. They're used to cash generating businesses. So I think to answer your question, Abdul, is I'm not a professional banker. I'm not an investment banker. I've never been one. But all I'm saying is from the feedback we're getting is structured products need to be tailored more towards the family. And there's a great time now to build that personal relationship during a time like this, because it shows that you care and you're willing to take the risk and say, we're here for you, and keep kind of checking in. Probably a story you've heard many a times before. Right, for any of you coming in now, tell us where you're from, what country, what do you do? Self-promote, please. Moving on. I think, so we've gone through some of the negative PR. We saw the CEO of Dubai Tourism yesterday put out a lovely video about how they're doing all they can to protect the civilians here. They are. They couldn't do more if they tried. Unbelievable. But when it comes to business, and I'm probably repeating myself from the start of the stream, international business looking in, there's not a lot. There's probably not a lot of you sitting there saying, let's get on a plane and open up a new company in the UAE right now. But this is short term. It will pass. This country, professionals are bouncing back. Professionals are bouncing back. And they genuinely care. They care about building the best country in the world. And you can see that. All right? Now, we've gone through our family offices leaving. We've said, no, they're not, because that's a business decision. It's a business decision, a family office structure. It's not about sitting at a pool and drinking cocktails and enjoying the brunches. It's a business decision. You're not going to move a family office structure overnight because of a conflict. Yes, you may have a little bit of a timeout and sit in Marbella or London, but you're not going to move the business structure because it costs a fortune to set up. And you need it. Regulation here is good. Banking is good. Tick, tick. Access to left and right of the world. Tick, tick. Our family office is deploying or waiting. As I told you before, and I'm doing a recap just for all of you. Our family office is deploying or waiting. We sent out a questionnaire on the 2nd of April to 200 families. We selected the best that we could find, all the big names locally, as well as the biggest ones that we have in DIC and ADGM. 77 came back within 48 hours telling us what they're doing, what they're interested in, their ticket sizes. They wouldn't give us that if they weren't actively still operating as normal, right? They would just ignore their email. And I'm sure some are. Some are just ignoring the email because they're just still like, we're not sure what's going on. Access to families. There's no better time right now to access families online. Shoot that 7th or 8th message that they haven't replied to. Give it a go. Most employees of family businesses are sitting at home, working from home. They're not doing favors for people. Oh, can you meet my friend? He's a GP. Oh, can you meet my startup? Oh, we need to go to this government event. Oh, we need to do that. Oh, I've got a block toilet in one of my houses in one of these. You do realize the family office doesn't just spend money. They do actually control the family affairs and do have to solve problems. I do explain this in some of my events. And yes, a block toilet sometimes can cause a massive problem in an estate somewhere. And it's true, that story came from somebody. A UAE family office versus the US. As I told you, a US family office is very sophisticated. It's very by the book. They call it now, you need $250 million of liquidity, which is good. There's a lot of misinformation around the word family office. It's heavily overused. Everyone calls himself a family office. I think in a Netflix movie recently, some guy walks up to some guy at a party and says, I run a small single family office. There's no really such thing as a small single family office because they're expensive to set up. Just to hire the initial people is very expensive. So the UAE, US family offices are different. And I'm sure some people can back me up on that. For a lot of you coming in, I see everyone saying where they're coming in from. Hello from Italy. Thank you for teaching over the years. Much appreciated. Thanks for a lot of you following me. I'm just doing this stream to kind of say hello, number one. I'm a real person. I'm not asked for ChatGPT or Claude. Most of my posts, I try to be as human as possible. I haven't done a video in a long time. I used to do Mandate Mondays, if any of you remember. But yes, let's, before I finish off going through kind of everything that I've been through, let's go through some of the questions. Nice service. I'm based in Dubai. I work as a high-performing psychologist partner in the UK trained psychologist. Now, families, would you believe it? There were actually, is it Lorna? Yeah, Lorna. When we put out this questionnaire last week, let me try and share screen. Let me know if this allows share screen. Yeah, no. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't, just tell me. But it's not sharing screen yet. But tell me if it does in the chat. But Lorna, when we put out this questionnaire, one of our points was family psychology. So it is on the top of the agenda at the moment, right? We're in a conflict. I know we're in the Middle East, but the UAE's never really seen anything like this. Do you not think there's going to be internal family conflict? What should we be doing? No, let's save money. No, let's buy that. This brother doesn't get on with this brother. Dad's old. What does he know? There's going to be a lot of family psychological issues, and it's a topic that people want to talk about, but they know it's hard to talk about it. Because if I'm a chief investment officer, I have no idea why this next gen does not want any interest to do with the family business or the office. No idea. Even if I try, it just doesn't. All these questions need to be answered. So maybe Lorna, if anybody's looking for family psychology, reach out to Lorna. It's still not letting me share screen. I'm sorry, guys. I will have to owe you. I'll figure it out next stream and I'll go through the data. Let me collect more data from our family office platform and I'll share a lot of it with you. All right. 5 more minutes. Ask as many questions as you want. Now's your chance. And then I'm going to drop off because I don't like rambling on for too much. You guys have got better things to do, your own lives to worry about. But if I've missed anything, send me a direct message. Please like this stream and this post. I might start doing some more live streams. The next one will be a bit more structured, a bit more prepared. This one I just wanted to jump on and get used to it. And as I said, I've forgotten how to use this platform already. I used to be very savvy at like kind of sharing screen, but it seems bugged. And all I can say is, to repeat, give it till after summer. The UAE will bounce back. The PR will be like nothing you've seen in terms of positivity. Kids are still not going back to school yet. I think for most parents, it is uncomfortable when you've got interceptions happening and sending your kids to school. I don't believe any parent agrees to that. I'm one of them. But that will change. We've had a lot of family offices withdrawn from their structures being set up, who were in the early part of their process. So yes, you could say that some family offices have stopped the process of setting up here. And I'm just being real with you, right? I'm not doing a flaky LinkedIn post. But they were the ones that were in the process of setting up. The ones that are here are not leaving because it's a business decision. I'm in the events business. I should be panicking. We're not doing any events anytime soon. And again, I'm just being real. So I'm thinking about what to do. I'm collecting data. I'm finally having time to digitize the back end of the platform, which I've been wanting to do for the last 3 years. I haven't had time to. It's allowed me to form partnerships. We're launching something called FO Impact, where we're partnering with international charities and philanthropic associations. So I'm doing a lot of the things that I didn't have time to do. I'm using this time wisely, and it doesn't always involve money. It involves doing good, growing as a brand, and looking at kind of the monetary factor in the future, right? Anyway, stay safe, everyone. The UAE will bounce back. Give it till kind of after the summer. I think a lot of you will be edging to come back. Things are still happening here. Supposedly there was a ceasefire, but not at the moment. The war will linger. The UAE will be carved out of it at some point soon. And this place will keep growing. Has a 2030 strategy, and nothing's going to stop it. All right? Anything I've missed, send me a direct message. All right? See you guys soon.